When you talk to a man like Elliot Rodger, and the type of state of mind he's in, and desperation, the despondency that he's in, being on Isla Vista, trying to impress the tall blondes who are sexually built, powerful, and Elliot's a short, pursy Asian man boy. His family is very prominent, and he is dressed impeccably nice. Hugo Boss shirt, beautiful haircut, full head of hair, good features, but small, maybe 125, maybe 130 pound, maybe 5'6". I have the right to talk because I'm 5'3" and a half and I'm 210. And I got no hair. I was 75. Elliot is, oh my goodness, Elliot was over 50 years younger than me. Coming into the campus, Isla Vista campus, with a fancy BMW. Gucci bag, Gucci glasses. And a real, credible entitlement predicated on his being a wonderful, magnificent gentleman compared to the brute, obnoxious jock on campus that's ill-mannered, that doesn't know how to treat a woman like a gentleman the way Elliot would treat her. But these guys are crude. They're Philistines, but they do have the virility, they have the physical presence, and they have capacity to chat up a woman real good and impress them with their physiques, with their body language. They know exactly what to say and do, and precisely how to use the proximus. That's the space between the two. How to get close. You have to get in. There's a time you're not going to get anywhere unless you can get into that woman's space, and you better look good. You better know exactly what you're doing to be able to do that. Now, Elliot tried to imitate these virtues, and they are virtues in the sense that they establish the necessary rapport between the jock and the woman, the tall blonde in this case. Elliot can't do that. Elliot was trying to pick up quirks. I did the same. He's also trying to pick up what I call talisman. I did the same when I was his age, with disastrous effect. The talisman is to dress like the jock, to cut your hair like the jock, to try to swag like the jock, and so on, and shag like the jock. That's right. When you don't know, it's all bluff. It's time. You cannot talk to a man like Elliot. That's the biggest mistake they make, using euphemism. This is the biggest mistake professionals make, in my opinion. They're using euphemistic language. They're using scientific language. They're using sterile language to try to handle or approach or comport themselves to a very tangible, concrete, down on the ground, balls to the wall, face on the ground problem. And so what they're doing is creating a lot of maneuvering room. They're not clear in what they're saying. When you have to talk through the fog of Elliot, you have to talk directly to that man's problem in a language that he can understand, to talk right through the fog of misunderstanding and miscommunications, which are very dangerous, and ultimately, in this case, leads that man to try to get back his manhood and his credibility into the day of retribution. The only way he can do it, he tried to squirt his water pistol to stain the jock's clothes, symbolically shooting them. He tried to throw his coffee latte on the girls and on the jocks, and then drive away quickly to get back at them, and the only way he could to get revenge. And this kid was suffering, most of all, from massive jealousy. That's the road to perdition right there. Massive jealousy, and wanting the gods to intervene and give him a level playing field. He wanted the gods to protect him and talk up for him and represent him against the brute, obnoxious jock. And when all is said and done, when he walked around and tried to get understanding and comprehension everywhere, finally came down to the solution. Day of retribution. He armed himself. He didn't want to use the weapons he had. He was looking for every possible way not to have to go for the day of retribution and shoot up the town and try to enter the sorority house and get those tall blondes. Eliminate those tall blondes. And what does he end up doing? Collateral damage. Doesn't get one tall blonde. He gets a wannabe jock, and the rest are just purely innocent. Those 3 Oriental boys, Chinese boys, Asian boys, they didn't hurt a fly. And he slaughters them in their sleep, horrifically, knifes them down. And this kid, Peter Rogers, said, my son Elliot, he couldn't punch his way out of a paper bag. He couldn't hurt a flea. He's that gentle. If you looked at him, and that's what those police knew when they interrogated him and decided to let him go. I would do the same thing. That kid is so weak, so fragile, so humble, and talks with so much respect and humility. I don't even want to go any further. I feel guilty. I feel bad to go any further with this kid. I won't let him go. I feel bad, man. I feel like a monster pursuing this Percy. Small, weak man. Obviously, you can see it right there. And they're not seeing a front. That's the way he was. But everybody has a breaking point. And he wanted to try to win the lotto and become a multi-millionaire and build a mansion on a hilltop and drive Lamborghini and wear the best, the finest clothes, clothed beautifully, and come on that Island Vista campus and rub it right under the nose of those brute, obnoxious jocks. Now I say to you right now, there's nothing wrong with that fantasy. Not a damn thing wrong with it. It's a powerful fantasy. And it's the only fantasy you have, you can have. Let's be realistic when you're cornered like that. And it takes somebody who can talk through the fog of all this and reason with this man. And you give him facts, and now there's no excuse. Even then there was no excuse. You have a camcorder, you can film it, you can show him exactly what he's doing. You can show him exactly what his posture is like. You can show him exactly what the sound of his voice is like when he's trying to approach a woman. And he doesn't even approach him. He wants to do what a buddy of mine who was an astrologist. Now this guy went 6'1", and he loved to sit on the beach. He'd sit on the beach in La Jolla Beach, right? And he'd sit and think and concentrate. He'd pick on one woman he wanted to impress, right? Now, he doesn't want to go up to talk to her. There's so many jocks around, better looking jock, and get rejected. And believe me, no matter what the women say, they are not humanistic, they are not compassionate. They're going to reject him hard. And I mean real hard. Elliot's right. He said when a woman rejects Elliot, it's 10 times as bad as if a man does it. And he's right. He hit it right on the head. Nobody talks about this, but your stranger does. And he sat on the beach, look up at the sun, and he's concentrating, and he wants those women to come to him. He said, you watch. And I was damn fool enough to sit with him for a couple hours under that hot La Jolla sun in the summertime. We seen all the women comes by, and he's concentrating. This goes on. No, we didn't say a word. He's focusing and concentrating. I did not want to disturb his concentration, and he's sending the vibes out. And he said, watch this. I have this ability. The women will come to me. You'll see it. Well, we waited 3 hours. I don't know a woman come to us. You could spend a whole lifetime, my friend, looking for shortcuts. Like they say in the Bronx, that shit don't float in the Bronx. I remember one time I tried to cut corners to get to a destination. And I got some native Italian guy, native New Yorker, and I told him what happened. And he said, well, now, you tried to cut corners, didn't you? I said, yeah, I did. Well, one thing we know in the Bronx, you don't cut corners. Now you're going to have to go all the way back, 3 miles back to where you began. and do it right. You created the problem. Now you're going to have to start all over again. But you learn it. But it was a lesson learned. This is tough. This is a very tough reality to appropriate and to understand and to communicate. That's why nobody does it. That's why everybody dances around these things and sweep it under the rug with dangerous consequences for the misunderstanding and for the miscommunication. Let's get a dialogue going. Let's get into this.